All right, welcome back, and as we do before each council meeting, we go over the agenda. Joining us tonight, let's go to our guest if we can, the council chair once again, Darren Guidry. Good to see you, Darren.
Welcome, Mark. Martin, thanks you for inviting us.
All right, anytime. And also we have Carl Lee, better known in the community. How are you doing, sir?
Doing pretty good. How are you?
Good, thank you very much. All right, so let's go over the agenda. It's been working out well, but before we do that, also information on how people can see the agenda if they want to see it before.
Yeah, I wanted to let everybody know that what we follow, the packet here that we get in our hands when we look over the agendas, and when we're at our council meetings, we have this packet. This entire packet is available online, so you can actually pull it up. You can follow along if you're watching a council meeting, or if we're discussing an agenda item here on your show, then they can follow along as well.
All right, so let's get into it. What are some of the things that you think are important as the chair? And then we'll let Mr. Harding talk, because obviously things are important in his district too. So we'll start with you, Darren, if we could.
Well, you mean on our agenda?
Yeah, on your agenda.
On our agenda for Wednesday, we're going to have Entergy is going to come back, because we got into a very, I think, productive discussion with Entergy concerning how our street lights are going to get repaired, and it started to go into how Entergy is going to connect some of these FEMA trailers that are out there, or just be more reactive or more proactive. And so they're going to come back because we asked a few questions that we didn't have on our agenda, they weren't prepared for, so they're now prepared and they're coming back, and so we have that on our agenda, and so that should be an interesting talk. Yeah. And if anybody watched our last meeting, Entergy said by the end of June, all the street lights in Terrebonne Parish will be on. We would like it to be sooner, but at least we were able to lock them down to a date, so by the end of June.
Yeah, and at least they showed up and at least they gave a date.
Exactly.
That's better than some people do, so that was good to see. All right, so we move to item B on the agenda.
Yeah, B is an item we had last week, which we're going to bring back again. It's just the discussion of a blue ribbon commission that Mr. Danny Babin put on here. And so that discussion will also take place tonight. And then
Wednesday.
On Wednesday.
Wednesday, yeah.
And we also have an item on our agenda, if we're moving along to item C, which is a discussion of council members discussing agenda items, which is exactly what we're doing on media outlets like yourself. And we're very grateful, Martin, that you're allowing us this opportunity. And Mr. Harding is here. I'm here as the chairman. I may not always be here. We may have some of the other committee chairmen or committee vice chairmen who are here to review some of the agenda items. But the whole point of this is really so that way the general public will have an idea of what's going to be in our Wednesday agenda, so they can come out to the meetings if they want to, and they'll be better informed. Hopefully, get more people active. I'm hoping that's a
pro-media outlet kind of thing, and we'll give everybody the benefit of the doubt, because we invite everybody to come up here, and no matter what your agenda is, come and let us know what it is. So we allow that. So that's going to be important. We'll see where that one goes. And then item D.
Do we have an item D? Let's see, Martin, you got the one that was online, which is not in my packet yet.
Oh, okay, good. I'll share that one with you.
Discussions relative to the services and programs provided by the Terrebonne Economic Development Authority. We, I guess, have a cooperative endeavor agreement with them. They're a state agency, and I haven't read the backup because we just received this, but I do know that our legal department has been working on that cooperative endeavor agreement between TITA and I, because they've called me on a few different issues that we've had to work out.
And for full transparency, I think one of them deals with HTV's tax abatement of this beautiful building we're in. So we'll see where it goes, but just to be fully transparent.
I don't think that's going to be on this Wednesday's agenda. Right. That will be on a future agenda.
Okay. Yeah.
But this just says what TITA does for the parish and what TITA doesn't. And you're talking about whether TITA approves state tax exemptions or not is part of that contract, whether the parish council approves it or TITA. And understand the tax exemptions that TITA approves, really the state approves the tax exemptions. They just ask some local agency to bless it.
Right.
To basically say, yeah, this is a legitimate business and it is providing a benefit to Terrebonne Parish.
Yeah, well, I want to be fully transparent because we're going to be in that packet. So there we are. All right, so Let me turn to Carly, if we could now. Some of the things in your district, and I know y'all work within your district, but you also look at the whole parish, too. What are some of the things on your mind?
Well, we can go back to, in reference to energy. I think shortly after we got hit by the hurricane, of course, communication was our number one priority to make the proper assessment. And after making the proper assessment, throughout the parish, mostly the bayou areas, it was a concern of the people that were displaced. And once we addressed that issue, people being displaced, there were some camps. There's still 2 camps open up. I've really been focused on the residency of those people that's been displaced within Terrebonne Parish and outside Terrebonne Parish. There are a number of people who have contacted me in Arkansas, Oklahoma, and I want the people of Terrebonne Parish to get back. And so we trying to work together because this hurricane that hit us, it was devastating. And I think we're writing a new handbook on how to recover.
A lot of people have camps to go to when their main dwelling is down. Some people do not, right?
Yeah, they don't, and there's 2 camps in particular that are still open, but we're still trying to find funding. I wrote emails trying to find funding, and to make it simple is that as one thing closes, you have a standing ship call. One thing is closing, the other one has to open, so it has to be a push and pull. Other than we're a stall, so we're trying to stop the stall where we can actually, as we open up places such as 311 and out Shreveport with FEMA. There are some circumstances that we have to look at as a government, the people that are in the inner city. They have trailers, but then there are circumstances with the electrical and the coding. So we have to work out those things, and we have to have that balance so we won't stall out, and the people of Terrebonne Parish won't get left
But it's
homeless.
sort of been relaxed a little bit so people can get things. Safety is important, and we know electricity. You can't have a shortcut on electricity. You got to do it right. But probably not as strenuous to get permits. Am I right on that?
Yeah, the permits are not the case. I think the volume of travel trailers, we had ordered an additional 300. The circumstances with the FEMA trailers being provided in particular locations. So we're trying to find sites and other people that are out there that have property that FEMA can actually go through them to actually give them an opportunity for spaces for people to come in. The hardest part about that is trying to find the space for people.
Space always a problem. Do you find as a councilman, and Darren, I'll ask this to you also, you're the chairperson, but you're still a councilman, so they call you. They call all of y'all. Phone's been ringing a lot, Carly?
The phone's been ringing a lot. Somehow or another, like I say, I'm shouldering the responsibility to become rather vocal because a lot of people within the urban portion of this parish are displaced because of homo housing authorities such as the Bayou Towers. We have the Senator Circle. We have a lot of apartment complexes and rent houses that are in the urban portion. Some people may not realize it, but then that's where we have the most dense population. And so obviously you have the more need for housing. So people really call me, not even in my district, a gentleman on the east side of town. He's a guy that has a travel trailer, but he needs a larger trailer because he's handicapped. FEMA travel trailers are not ADA compliant, so therefore he had to take what he had, and he was trying to work some circumstances out with him. So for his FEMA,
So it's hard to get the wheelchair in the door.
In the door, right? So we have to work on that. You know what I mean?
I mean, and these hurricanes make everybody think out the box. Not just handling typical business as usual. Everybody's thinking out the box.
And Martin, we also have some current problems in trying to deal with some of at least the FEMA mobile homes, and we also are going to have some future issues.
We got a couple of pictures of those.
We do, as a matter of fact.
And we'll let her pull it up as you talk about it. She'll get it on the screen. There you go.
This is an issue we're currently having with a gentleman who has been living in his house with a tarp in Dulac, and for 3 months. This home has been on location for 3 months. You see where FEMA put the pole 1 foot away from the home. You see where the line is up against the house. SLECA won't hook up the electricity because they say that the line is too close to the house and it will hit the home and it could risk shock. So he has been trying to get FEMA to move this line, or the contractor for FEMA is having trouble. And so he called me, and I've been working with our planning department who's working with FEMA. I'm trying now to get a phone call, a contact at FEMA, because they do their own thing to try to help this gentleman get into his home.
Yeah, I may have a good number for you on that, by the way. But who, did they put that pole up after that trailer was there? That would be incredible.
They did. And I asked the gentleman that. I asked him if he put it in, and indeed that they put it after the mobile home. The other one is going to be a future problem, and that is, FEMA never looks at the future with these homes. This is a home that was placed, if you notice where the telephone, the power lines are, this is in the right-of-way side of the power line. This is out in Montague, and the gentleman next door, he's blocked to see the road when he pulls out of his driveway. So this home, if they do decide to sell this to the individual down the line, FEMA, and it not becomes temporary, then they're going to have to move this at their cost. Whereas FEMA could have put it at the right spot to begin with for the future, so the parish wouldn't have a problem. That gentleman's going to have to move that if he decides to buy it.
As we go to the break in this segment, let's show that other picture, Jen, if we can, the one with the pole again, because this is what we've been covering on our reports. This is why it takes long, and it's pretty common sense to us, but and I don't want to cast aspersions because I'm not sure who put the pole up, but it is touching the trailer. So the utility companies who are denying this are really being responsible. They're doing their job because they don't want a death on their hands. But who's ever putting these poles in, they need to go to school and relearn how to do it. Give them a chance, do it right. Maybe they never did it before.
This trailer was completely delivered, and the lady getting ready to move in, all she needed was a meter. And the circumstances that prevailed was that there's a coding issue. And we're trying to work out on certain coding issues. Circumstances with FEMA and other instances, they don't mix. So we had to work out some things where we can actually take care of the people. So it's difficult, but then we're doing so as best we could.
Yes, difficult times. I know some people that had homes torn down wanted to bring a trailer on their property to live temporarily, and all the neighbors are fighting them, saying you can't bring a trailer. It's not in the subdivision.
Yeah.
And I'm going, come on, people, let's take a deep breath and let's get past this, okay? All right, Darren, let's go to public hearings that are coming up. Anything of importance that you see or prominence that we see?
Of course, anytime we make changes in the budgets, we have to have a budget ordinance, and so these are pretty, standard changes in the budget. We have a bond issue that's been on the agenda for several times because we keep getting better rates, and so this is a bond that's just to help pay for some hurricane expenses that we're going to pay for that with the revenue that we're going to get from FEMA. And then we also have on here an ordinance for low-speed vehicles. That's probably one of the most interesting thing because in the Bayou Country Sports Park, there are events where they need to use golf carts. And they can't because state law says that we have to have an ordinance on the books for them to use these low-power vehicles. So our ordinance is going to stipulate that they have to be battery operated. They can't be motorized, so they're not going to cause problems with noise for the neighbors. And it has to be of a low speed, and you have to be a licensed driver. So there's a bunch of things, but this will allow for those golf carts during these certain events that need to have golf carts.
I never knew there was such a requirement. I mean, I'll tell you what, it shocks me how many requirements. And I guess do golf courses have those same requirements? I don't even know.
So on the road, you can't go less than 20 miles an hour. You can't go more than 25 miles an hour. It's an electrical vehicle. And this is something, well, someone sees a golf cart out there, so they're going to take a four-wheeler out there and just go up and down. No, that's not the situation that it's calling for. But, we want to make sure that also that Terrebonne Parish do not have any liabilities to go along with that, even though we are passing this particular ordinance.
Okay. What other things do we have, Darren, that we need to discuss?
We have several vacancies, and I know I'd like to mention some of those.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
To various boards. Of course, we appoint boards and commissions. And we have an opening at the Veterans Memorial District. We have one expired term representing the Vietnam Veterans of America, so if you're a member of that organization. We also have a vacancy on a few rec boards. We have a vacancy on rec board number 1. Rec 3A has 2 vacancies. Rec 6 has one expired term. 7 has 1. Rec District 8 has an opening. Rec District 11 has an opening, which is the old city of Houma. Bayou Fire District has an opening. Bayou Cane Fire District. The Coteau Fire Protection District has 2 openings. Fire Protection District 7 has 1 opening. Fire District 8, 1. District 10. The Tree Board has 2 expiring terms. Terrebonne Arc has 1 expired term. The Board of Adjustments has 1 vacancy, and the Children's Youth Board has a vacancy representing the Bayou Area Children's Foundation. And also South Central Humanities Services Authority has one vacancy. So if you're familiar with any of those organizations, if you think you qualify and would be a good candidate.
That's a lot of vacancies across the board.
We do, and it's surprising that we.
But they pop up every now and then, and it just.
I think with the hurricane and everything else, it's harder and harder to get people to get involved because they're so involved right now with getting their homes fixed. You know that people have so little time, and so if you do have time, if you are fortunate enough to, have your home all situated and your business all situated, and you want to help, please call our staff, because they would be glad to talk you through the process.
And of course, we all have recreation coming up. Matter of fact, Mr. Gerald Michel, Councilman, wanted to come on and discuss it, and I'm sure we're going to have a lot of discussions about recreation. So I bet you're all looking forward to those recreation discussions about to come up, right?
Well, the quality of life is the term that recreation is a part of, and it is something that's very important in my council district.
No doubt.
I don't know if it's important for Councilman
I
Harding,
think everybody would put a check mark by recreation, so,
Yeah, recreation is important. I think the circumstances that has come into being and how we arrived where we are. As we go on into the future, I guess I'll leave the future and let it take care of itself.
We'll have discussions, and we'll let everybody who wants to be represented come on and talk about it, and got to get their point across, because the people will vote, and when the vote is cast, that's going to be the way it is. So, which is America. It sort of should be like that, right? All right, so we'll see how that goes, and thank you all so much for. Give the times real quick again for the meetings this week.
The meeting on Wednesday will begin at 6 o'clock, and then around 6:30 we'll have the public hearing, maybe a little bit after, but it won't be before 6:30.
All right, there you go. Darren, Carly, thank you all so much for joining us, and we'll see y'all again in a couple of weeks.
Every second and fourth week we have our meetings. We have our committee meetings starting at 5:30
Yeah,
this
we'll
afternoon.
be ready for you. All right, we'll be right back. Don't go away.